Welcome to Money Chat Now. I'm your host, Larry Steinhouse, and today is Tuesday, October 26, 2021. Hey, don't forget, if you like the show, hit the share button. Hit it right now. Hit the like button. And don't forget, you can comment live during the show on YouTube and Facebook and LinkedIn and Twitter. So feel free to comment. Let me know if you like the show. Let me know what you think. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel and like the Money Chat Now page on Facebook. Money Chat Now is brought to you by Investor Schooling, and of course you can attend a complimentary class this Thursday by going to investorschooling.com. There you will learn about real estate investing and stock options trading from those who do it every day. So all right, on today's show we're going to be discussing, of course, the market update, or almost down date, I guess. We're going to be talking about Facebook dropping, the CDC cruise restrictions, Social Security, rental assistance, and Biden's Build Back Broker plan, electric cars, and of course the wrap up. So let's get into it. Let's talk a little bit about what happened today in the Dow and the S&P and the Nasdaq. First of all, the Dow is up about 15, almost 16 points. The market popped, it dropped, and then it bounced. I gotta be honest, there's a telltale sign that it's kind of almost over. Microsoft and Google are the plays today, and their earnings will be reported shortly. And of course, Robinhood will also be making its debut in earnings as well. So the S&P also closed up about 8 points. The Nasdaq closed up about 9 points. And I actually think the S&P might actually be a put play at this point. So let's talk a little bit about Facebook, what happened yesterday. So once again, Facebook stock is under pressure. Yesterday, Facebook had a very strong earnings report, and after hours, the stock revved up about 12 points at one point. This morning, the stock opened down, and it was down almost as much as 20 points at one moment. Wow. Last week's Snap disappointed the market with less subscribers and lower than expected revenue. This pushed Facebook stock down and actually created a buying opportunity for a short-term option play. Unfortunately, it was only 2 days after the Snap earnings that Facebook had their earnings, so there wasn't enough time for the stock to rebound and make a good profit. I made a couple of bucks, but nothing really big. Facebook, I'm going to tell you right now, is going to continue to be the giant social media player, and nothing is ever going to stop that. Not even the Apple privacy problems that everyone was worried about. It doesn't matter. The truth is that there are workarounds already to the privacy change issue, and as an advertiser on Facebook, our marketing department is already working through them. So I clearly see that Facebook might possibly drop to the 290s, but it's going to happen for a short time only. But I have been saying, however, that the market is about to turn again as we enter November. I've been predicting the market to turn about mid-November as we come back to the debt ceiling and multi-trillion-dollar infrastructure bill again. So look, if Facebook goes into the 290s, I'm going to say it may be a play. If it goes below 290s, obviously it's a play. I would keep watching out for it and see what happens. And if it does happen, go for it. All right, let's talk a little bit about the CDC. Once again, the small-minded and power-hungry members of an organization that most people never even noticed before is flapping their wings to extend their power over the world. That's right, the dumbasses at the CDC have extended cruise ship mandates to continue to include masks, vaccines, and testings for all passengers aboard cruise ships. This was supposed to end November 1st, and now, of course, it's been extended to January 15th. When will this madness end? My guess, when the people actually stand up for themselves and rebel. Well, when will that be? Well, it's been almost 2 years of 2 weeks of flatten the curve, so I'm going to say probably never. Want to know how Hitler and other dictators took over a country in the past? Just look at your government, your friends, and yes, even yourself. You sat back and watched. Either way, I'm not going on a cruise until I can actually enjoy myself by getting a suntan that is below my nose. All right, let's talk a little bit about Social Security. Once again, we are being told that Social Security, the biggest legal Ponzi scheme ever created, is about to run dry in about 13 years. And because of this, Democrats are scrambling to prove they care about you by introducing a bill known as the Social Security 2100 Act, and that's being brought forward. For those of you who don't understand why I call Social Security a Ponzi scheme, let me first explain the concept of the fund. This fund is designed to pay people who are over 62 from a tax collected by those who are not collecting it. So if you're 35 years old, you are contributing to a fund, and as if you contribute to it, it's paying people who are over 62. The question is if the funds are going in. The question is whether the funds going in are more each day, month, year, or decades than the funds going out. By the way, the definition of a Ponzi scheme: funds coming in or paying the people who are collecting funds from the fund. That's how it works. Anyway, it appears that with the boomers like me heading for retirement, haha, I call myself a boomer, the math says that the Social Security fund will not be able to maintain itself in about 13 years. With that being said, the Democrats are trying to push legislators to change how money gets inputted into the fund by taxing people more. Here's how it works. Right now, Social Security as a tax comes off the top of your paycheck, and you pay 6.2% of your paycheck, and your employer matches that 6.2% as a deposit into the fund. Because Social Security has a cap on what you will pay, there is also a cap on what your tax on Social Security will be. For example, if you make over $142,800 in 2021, you are considered to have capped your Social Security benefit max. That means every dollar over that number is no longer taxed at the 6.2%. One part of the bill that's being introduced will start this tax again for every dollar you make over $400,000. This will not increase your maximum benefit at the time of retirement, so essentially it's a punishment for making more than $400,000 a year. That's really what it is. Look, I do realize that only a small percentage of people, of Americans, make over $400,000, and it's also, of course, a tax on payroll or wages only. So even if your adjusted gross income is higher than $400,000, this may not apply to you anyway. Look, in my opinion, I really don't think this is a solution to the problem anyway. If only a small amount of people make over $400,000, the revenue they need probably won't come close to the deficit. But here, if you're worried that Social Security might go away, it probably won't for many reasons. One reason is that both Democrats and Republicans won't allow this to happen. The Democrats, who pretend to care about you, won't let the people starve, and the Republicans will scream, "This was my money that I deposited into the fund, and I want it back." The other reason is something called the budget reconciliation. It's basically a promise to the debt holders, like the American people, that the United States will always pay its obligations. By the way, this is similar to what will happen if the Democrats and Republicans don't come together and agree to the debt ceiling bill in December. So go ahead and sleep at night knowing that you will get your Social Security. Don't worry about it, all right? On the other hand, learn how to make other incomes just in case I'm wrong, and I'm going to tell you right now, this is how to do it. We'll see you in a minute.
Okay, so you've thought about investing in real estate, houses, apartment buildings, properties, but don't really know where to start. Well, what if you could very easily learn how to gain strategies to use other people's money to buy and sell houses in the Philadelphia area? If you could learn and network with successful area real estate investors and how to produce monthly income on rental properties without headaches, that place is Investor Schooling. With Investor Schooling, you'll learn from two Philadelphia area rockstar real estate investors, Phil Falcone and Larry Steinhouse, about how to buy and sell properties the easy way and teach you basic and advanced techniques to help you make money in real estate. You can attend Investor Schooling in person or online visual classes 8 times a month. You can and will learn how to make money in real estate. Call for free information and get a complimentary pass to one of these classes. But don't delay, as these complimentary passes are limited. Call the number on your screen now or visit investorschooling.com. investorschooling.com.
All right, welcome back to Money Chat Now. Hey, did you hit the share button? Did you hit the, come on, did you hear the share button and share it with your friends? Did you hit the like button? Did you let me know that you've been enjoying the show? And hey, I just see a comment from Leonardo, who never heard the fact that Social Security is a Ponzi scheme, and he thought that was a brilliant, a brilliant way to describe it, and it really is. So share, hit more comments, let me know you like the show. By the way, so far we've been discussing the fact, the market update. The Dow is up about 16 points, the S&P up about 8, and the NASDAQ up about 9. We've been talking about the fact that Facebook dropped. We've been talking about the CDC cruise restrictions, and of course the greatest Ponzi scheme ever, which is Social Security. So coming up, we're going to be talking about rental assistance, Build Back Broker. We're going to be talking about electric cars, and of course the wrap-up. Real quickly, I want to talk a little bit about a couple of earnings that came across. First of all, Robinhood came across, and that's a killer for me. Robinhood did terrible. They lost $2 a share, and sure enough, it dropped 3 points, so that's not too good for me because I've got some of it. But it is what it is. We'll do what we can, and we'll bring it back, whatever. Microsoft also came in. Let's see what Microsoft is going on right now. So Microsoft's up about $1.39, and of course Google also beat revenue, and let's see what they're doing right now as well. Google's up about $1.56. That's actually surprising. Usually Google pops when there's a good revenue, but let's see what happens. It is what it is. All right, so let's talk a little bit about rental assistance and what's happening. So due to the government overreach problem with the COVID-19 scamdemic, millions of people both had trouble paying rent or just felt they didn't have to pay rent. Some people actually said, hey, I don't have to pay rent because of this scamdemic. I mean, that was reality. Some 12 million adults remained behind on rent payments, according to the recent report. One analysis over the summer found that an average renter is in arrears, owes about $3,700, and some areas rental debts are over $10,000 per household. Now look, the government has had a terrible time with the awareness of the programs that are available to renters and landlords. Currently, there are more than $30 billion in rental assistance that still hasn't been spent. So that means if you have if you're a tenant and you can't afford to pay your rent, or you're a landlord who has a tenant that can't afford to pay the rent, there's $30 billion waiting for you to take. Wow. Efforts to disperse the money have been challenged by a continuing lack of awareness and a cumbersome application. That's the problem. The application is also ridiculous. Nobody understands it. This money is available and people just don't know how to get it, and that's the big problem. Look, if you're in this situation, you're watching this show, or if you know somebody that is, the National Low Income Housing Coalition has a state-by-state list of more than 500 organizations giving out the federal money. The Consumer Federal Protection Bureau also has a new online tool that will help you apply for the aid. So I'm going to have you listen to this carefully. www.consumerfinance.gov/coronavirus. I'm going to say it one more time. www.consumerfinance.gov/coronavirus, and this may provide you with the help to find the aid, or just simply do a search on it and you'll be able to find it. I promise you, it's out there. All right, let's talk a little bit about Building Back Broker. All right, the Democrats are trying to push through their what was once called an infrastructure bill and is now called the Social Build Back Better plan. Yes, folks, finally they are admitting to it. It's not about roads and bridges or electric charging stations. It's about social programs that will drain the economy and push corporate Americans to go back overseas to avoid taxes in America. Of course that's what's going to happen, right? The funniest part of the bill is it was touted as the bipartisan infrastructure bill. Look, I am so confused by this former title. If it was in fact bipartisan, why didn't it get passed yet? It can't even get past the Democrats, and they're the ones actually arguing the cost, as I reported last week. I think this sums it up perfectly when Pelosi says, "We are on the verge of something major, transformative, historic, and bigger than anything else." She's correct. It's the end of freedom, the Constitution, and capitalism as we know it. Did you enjoy your free trial of socialism in the past 2 years? That's what we're in store for with this new bill passing. As I keep saying, just 35 more years. I just need 35 more years. Just 35 more years. Hold in there, America, because by then I'll either be dead or I'll be too old to care. Let's talk a little bit about electric cars. We had a solid results last week from Tesla and when they reported earnings, and by the way, both tomorrow GM and Ford will be reporting earnings as well. However, I'm not so sure the earnings will go, but I do know the guidance will be strong as both companies are rolling out more and more electric-powered cars. Although I believe in the technology, I actually think it's great, and the possible green benefits are definitely there, I often think about whether we're moving too quickly on this venture. Do we really have the infrastructure to support chargers and charging stations across the country or across the world for all the cars that will be on the road in the next 10 years? If you remember, Hertz bought 100,000 of them. That's pretty incredible. If it really takes hours to fully charge a car, what happens if you're in the middle of a trip to Florida from New York? Can someone just unplug the toaster? I need to charge my car? Anyway, I'm looking forward to the earnings report tomorrow, and I'll keep you guys informed what happens with GM and with, of course, Ford. All right, let's take another break, and we'll be back, and I'll talk to you a little bit about what is going on in the market and some of my cool plays.
Okay, so you've thought about investing in real estate, houses, apartment buildings, properties, but don't really know where to start? Well, what if you could very easily learn how to gain strategies to use other people's money to buy and sell houses in the Philadelphia area? If you could learn and network with successful area real estate investors and how to produce monthly income on rental properties without headaches, that place is Investor Schooling. With Investor Schooling, you'll learn from two Philadelphia area rockstar real estate investors, Phil Felder Cohn and Larry Steinhouse about how to buy and sell properties the easy way and teach you basic and advanced techniques to help you make money in real estate. You can attend investor schooling in person or online visual classes 8 times a month. You can and will learn how to make money in real estate. Call for free information and get a complimentary pass to one of these classes. But don't delay, as these complimentary passes are limited. Call the number on your screen now or visit investorschooling.com. Investorschooling.com.
All right, welcome back to Money Chat Now. I am your host, Larry Steinhouse. Don't forget to share it. Hey, hit the share button right now. Hit that like button right now. Leave me comments. I see a couple of guys out there saying, I want to say hi to Harry. And Harry, that's not even Harry, but it is Harry. I want to say hello to Tommy and, of course, Leonardo watching us on YouTube as well. So far, we've been talking about the market update, and we talked about the fact that, hey, the market's up about 16 points. The S&P is up about 8 points, and the NASDAQ is up about 9 points. Not bad. We talked about Facebook dropping today, and it's sad, but I think it'll come back. So if you were stuck in it, don't worry. The CDC cruise restrictions. We talked about the fact of the greatest Ponzi scheme ever made, Social Security, and how I wouldn't worry about it. It'll come back. I also talked about rental assistance, building back broker, and, of course, electric cars. All right, let's talk a little bit once again about what's going on. We talked about it before. Facebook was a big drop, but I gotta be honest with you, it wasn't that much of a surprise to me. I've actually found that Facebook often drops right after earnings, and then it bounces once, at least once, before it retreats again before earnings. So it may actually bounce back up to 230 before it drops down to what might be 295. But if it hits 295, I'm going to tell you, get ready to buy. So tomorrow, Apple is on deck, and I would expect it to do well. iPhone sales should be positive part of their earnings, but look, you need to understand that Apple never even needs to sell another product. And it's fine. It'll never even need to sell another product, and it will still be an incredible revenue generator from just the App Store alone. So, of course, as I mentioned before, GM and Ford are also going to be coming up as well. So those will be some awesome earnings that I'm looking forward to. I did notice, of course, that Robinhood crushed me today. So I just noticed that Robinhood's earnings were much lower earnings than were much lower revenue than expected, and that's going to cause that stock to drop. Unfortunately, I'm in a little bit of it. I'm going to have to wait it out, and we'll see where it goes. And once again, where are we? I still like the cruise stocks. I still like the airline stocks. And if you're going to play calls on them, I would go out to February, as President Braindead and his band of thieves might actually ease the restrictions in the New Year's. Hey, keep watching the show for great market tips. If you've gotten anything, if you got any great tips, hey, if you've got any great tips from me and you made any money, please let me know in the chat box. I'd really appreciate it. It'd be great. And of course, thank you for watching Money Chat Now. Hey, did you hit that share button yet? Go, hit the share button, hit the like button. Let me know you enjoy it. And, of course, don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel, like the Money Chat Now page on Facebook, and from time to time, I own some of the assets and options discussed in this show. The opinions discussed in this show are obviously mine, because nobody would be crazy enough to view them the way I do. Thanks for watching Money Chat Now. We look forward to your continued support, and we will see you tomorrow at 4:03. Thanks so much.